O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures and a Shark Tank star and investor. He says he will never invest in New York now, calls it a loser state. Kevin, great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining us today. I want to start with just a quick look at this from The View. Here's what Sunny Hostin had to say about the punishment value against the former president that she thinks is embraceable in this. Watch.
He had his name over every single building here in New York, and now he looks like one big, huge loser. And he doesn't have, and people now will know that he doesn't have the money, that he doesn't have business acumen, that he's not a great business person. And I got to tell you, that's what hurts.
That's what hurts, Kevin, and that seems to be the goal here. What do you say?
I listened to the governor of New York's words in the last 48 hours to try and quell the concerns of investors like me. What she basically said was, it's okay to do business in New York as long as you're not Donald Trump and you behave properly. Now, I don't even know what that means, but I'm asking myself, why take the risk? Who's next is what everybody's asking. Okay, I understand what happened here. I don't agree with the size of the penalty, and I think on a bipartisan basis, most people don't. They think it's quite unfair, given that there was actually no victim and no monetary losses. And in fact, it's just detailed, the victim actually testified for the defense on behalf of Trump, saying, we don't think anything's wrong here. And by the way, this practice is done by every developer in every city. But think about the problem I've got. I don't have to invest in New York, but I do have to invest. And right now, the fastest growth of capital in development is in data centers. They're expensive, and they require power, they require fiber, and they require policy, and they need stability, because you're going to invest about $3.6 billion over 22 years, and there's a real demand for data centers because of AI. Now, New York has Niagara Falls, and that's behind the power, sub 5 cents a kilowatt hour. That's very interesting. But so does Oklahoma, North Dakota, and West Virginia. So where do I go? Why would I even take a 1% risk with what's going on in New York? Why don't I just go to where the governors, in the case of Stitt or Burgum or Justice, are pro-business? They actually ran businesses. They don't do this to companies, and they know the damage is going to happen. So that's why I said there are winner states and loser states. And right now, and I used to think California was the #1 loser state. Top of the charts, pick of the pops, it's New York, #1 loser state in America.
Yeah, you know, and you walk up and down the streets in New York, and it has come back, I think, you know, fairly well since COVID. But there's a lot of danger on the streets. There's a lot of reasons for people not to want to come here. And, you know, they should be enticing companies, giving them tax breaks to open businesses in New York. They're doing exactly the opposite. Look at what happened at Gucci the other day. Watch this. This is in the middle of the afternoon on a bright sunny day. Watch what happens. There's no audio on this, but, you know, basically watch this. This guy's like, okay, I'm in the door. He starts, you know, taking roller suitcases. The other guy's grabbing purses off. This is in the middle of the day. And the crazy thing is, Kevin, that when they get out on the street with this basic huge burlap bag full of Gucci stuff, people barely even bat an eyelash. One guy turns around and goes, that looks a little weird. What's going on over there?
It's bad policy. That's the problem. It's bad policy and defunding the police and all of that. Remember, AOC chased out 10,000 jobs that Amazon wanted to bring. I love the people of New York, and I think it's a great state. I just can't take the risk of doing business there.
Yeah, no, they need a more business-friendly environment, and it would be good for the city, good for everybody, good for jobs, all of it. But you have to entice businesses, not repel them. And you're clearly repelled by this recent action. Kevin, thank you. It's great to see you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Was asked if there was a plan B, you know, a different candidate to take his place on the Democratic ticket because of his confusing actions and words that the entire nation is witnessing, all of us together. Biden thought the question was a joke. Funny, laughed it off. But the question remains, is there a plan B? And by the way, he's got a fundraising schedule that's about to get very busy. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. The president is in California today, another big cash haul. 3 days of fundraisers. There was one California resident who could and maybe would take Biden's place running for the White House if it came to that, Governor Gavin Newsom. You know, a spry 56-year-old. But here's the president.
You're going to California. Is this about coming up with a plan B for 2024? Does Gavin need to stand by?
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking at you.
Yes,
We're looking at you.
Okay, so he's willing to pick anybody? No, he was kidding. Media powerhouse Joe Rogan, though, wasn't kidding when he echoed what some other political watchers have been saying.
Don't you think that that's a ruse?
What you
That
mean?
him running for president? I think.
You don't think he's going to run?
No. I think they're going to get rid of him. I think they're going to move him out. They're going to force him to step down. That's what I think. If I had to guess, and it's just speculation, I'd say they're setting up Gavin Newsom for it.
White House correspondent Peter Doocy has more. Peter.
And Gavin Newsom has been asked about this and said that he actually hopes to be invited to a second Biden inauguration. And when we talk to folks in Biden world, the possibility of a last-minute switch at the top of the ticket, Biden going out, somebody else coming in, is just not on anybody's radar at all at this point. They say that they would rather focus on things like campaign fundraising. $42 million in January, $130 million cash on hand. The campaign manager is saying, while Team Biden-Harris continues to build on its fundraising machine, Republicans are divided, either spending money fighting Donald Trump or spending money in support of Donald Trump's extreme and losing agenda. Either way, judging from their weak fundraising, they're already paying the political price. But set aside issues with age or acuity, President Biden is underwater on the issues that will decide the election. 48% approval on jobs, 34% on inflation, and a measly 26% on immigration. So even the Democrats who say they don't see a lane for a third-party candidate won't back Biden yet.
Are you going to endorse President Biden?
I'm not endorsing anybody right now. We're going to see what all happens. We've still got plenty of time here.
And this likely won't help ease the concerns of people worried about Biden going the distance. You can see he had a little bit of a slip there on the short stairs as he was boarding Air Force One for the cross-country flight to California, where all the events are just about supporting the campaign, raising money. There is nothing official on the schedule. It is all just stuff for donors. Harris?
All right. It all takes energy, though. The world is on fire. Let's hope he's got a lot of it. Thank you.
Does this politically, does this backfire on
her?
Democrats? Yeah.
Oh, I think a lot, because she's overzealous, partisan. She has no dispassion. Like, she's very passionate about going after one person. And it shows, instead of just following the law. I also think that for a lot of people across the country, I still actually don't understand it and don't agree with it, that you have to pay a fine like that before you can appeal. That seems really wrong.
We just have to show the assets. You don't have to give them the money.
But even with that, it just seems like, even if you don't like Trump, you could look at this and say, that seems unfair, and it feels like there are two systems of justice. I do think that it always takes the media too long to catch up to people like Fani Willis or Letitia James, but eventually they do. And let's just say they get $400 million. Is that going to go to pay the $10,000 per migrant for their debit cards? Is that the kind of reinvestment? Or can you go to 37th and 8th Avenue and clean that crap up? Because it is terrible in this city. They've got, like, she's the attorney general. Like, you could do so much more than going after this and causing big problems for Democrats in the long run. But I guarantee in her circle of friends, in her text threads, they love it. They think that she's dining out on this every night.
Yeah. And something tells me, even if they get the $400 million, they're not going to spend it on
37th and 8th.
Well, they seize the assets, and according to a prosecutor's way of thinking, you use it for the office to fight crime, which she doesn't do.